Hello and welcome to another Tesla vlog with me, Adam Wellinformed. In 2023, if Tesla was playing chess, it has surely put its petrol alternatives into check, leading the pack by being one of the first automakers to cut prices after 18 months or so of persistent price increases. Tesla's new price cuts to the Tesla Model 3 and Model Y, together with its class-leading cost of ownership, should really put some serious doubts into those that are considering buying a petrol or diesel alternative over the coming months. The core reasons go beyond just the ticket price, and I will expand on those core reasons later in the video. But in my previous video, I detailed how purchasing a Tesla Model 3 is now cheaper to buy than one of its biggest rivals, the Mercedes C-Class, a well-known and respected champion in the affordable luxury sedan market. The old argument of Teslas being more expensive to buy is now starting to fizzle in today's environment. If you're in the US, that fizzle was probably more like a big bang thanks to the new federal credit worth up to $7,500. The purchase price of a Tesla Model 3 could be head above heels over the Merc, and we've not even factored in the eye-watering difference in the cost of ownership. According to my own calculations, it's cost me around £200 or $260 to cover 16,563 miles. If you don't believe me, you can find the details using the video on the screen now, but I can confidently say that if you're in the market for a saloon or a sedan, and if the Tesla Model 3 is within your budget, thanks to the juicy price cuts, now may be the time to seriously consider a Tesla Model 3 over your traditional petrol and diesel alternatives. In this video, I'll be comparing how the Tesla Model 3 stands up to the Mercedes C-Class, from specs to cost of ownership to residual cliffhangers. I appreciate not everyone will agree with my point of view, however this is how I now view the comparison of each vehicle, having now experienced driving and owning both an EV and petrol and diesel cars alike, and I hope that current EV owners will mostly agree with my findings too, having also experienced both. So if this video sounds like a fascinating insight, as always, buckle up. Please do hit that like button to show me some of your virtual love and support for Tesla and EVs. Hit the subscribe button so you can continue on this Tesla EV journey with me. And finally, hit the notification bell so you're notified of all my upcoming electric car videos as soon as they're available. Right folks, let's get into the thick of it. Firstly, I want to mess with your mind a little and do something wildly different. I want to give an overview of both vehicles in an alternative reality. Is this what they call meta? I don't know. Anyway, imagine if the Tesla Model 3 had existed for decades and the Mercedes C-Class was the new car on the block. Think of the USP advantages and the change of habits that would bring. Imagine changing the ability of charging your car from home, which is significantly cheaper, but more importantly, it's way more convenient because you're not driving out of your way to a pump during your own time. You'll be giving up the ability to place the car on charge within 30 seconds and the car will be fully charged overnight. So I'm not fully convinced an advertising campaign to skip a wee break over the course of a handful of trips for most people would really stick. Another change of habit would be moving on from having the annual obligation to visit a garage for service to having a manufacturer recommend that you must attend a yearly service no matter what. Forced to make service appointments, costing you more time and money, and not to mention the increased reliability for all the moving parts thanks to the added friction, the vibrations, the increased thermal effects, all having its wear and tear on the vehicle. You'd be moving away from an electric motor that relies on around 20 moving parts to 200 moving parts in a petrol engine. I'm pretty sure that's why it needs servicing annually. Final point before I run through the specs is that you'd be moving away from a car that sees software updates that has historically made the car safer in an event of an accident and more efficient to drive, delivered better range and added more convenient features like dog mode and sentry mode, and giving up the ability to make your car better overnight on your drive to a position whereby you don't gain additional software enhancements unless it's for safety purposes and then it needs a trip to the garage to do that. This is a small insight into life as a Tesla owner and how moving into a petrol or diesel car from an EV becomes not only more inconvenient, but also more expensive over time. The rest of the video would demonstrate that, but I thought this was a little insight into how I approach this video. So to kickstart the comparison in a more traditional fashion as to why it seriously put the competition into check, let's start by taking a look at the spec of the cheapest Tesla Model 3, being the rear-wheel drive Model 3, and how that stands against the cheapest Mercedes C-Class, being the C200 AMG line. We know the Tesla Model 3 is cheaper to buy in both the UK and considerably more so in the US with that federal credit. But what do you get for your money? Starting off with the Mercedes, you can look to achieve a WLTP rated range of 485 miles from 44.2 miles per gallon with a 50-litre tank, costing £74.21 to fill up in the UK based on average prices. It can accelerate in 0 to 60 in 7.3 seconds. It has a boot capacity of 455 litres. You get electric folding mirrors, window screen wiper sensors, and this is my favourite from the spec sheet, you get a sporty engine sound. Nice. Who would have guessed heated seats, parking sensors, rear camera, adaptive headlights, keyless entry, and more. But switching over to the rear-wheel drive Model 3, you can achieve a WLTP rated range of 370 miles, and to achieve such a feat from home charging can cost as little as £5.75 if you get yourself on a smart EV home tariff like myself. And you can see the dedicated video above for reference. It comes with 425 litres of boot capacity and a frunk, 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds, the same electric folding mirrors, automatic wipers, heated steering wheels, heated seats, side and rear cameras, keyless entry, and autopilot. Now, I've not mentioned all the differences because I'll be here a day, but this is just a gist of that there isn't a whole lot of major differences between the two spec-wise. Yes, the range is longer by 168 miles, but how often do you get to flex that difference? 96% of my charging was done from home, and I supercharged like 5 times last year. The difference in the cost per mile is 15p versus just 2 pence, and that's just based on the figures I provided before. And I will show the annual cost of ownership difference in just a moment's time. But day to day, it's evident that there is a premium if you're filling up with petrol or gasoline. Another point not considered fully is Mercedes has opted to include cruise control as standard, whereas the Tesla has their autopilot function incorporating adaptive cruise control and auto steering within a single lane. So without going full nerd and talking about the over-the-air updates and the phone integrations, etc., specs-wise, it's fair to say that they are spec-packed and there are differences between the two. But what about the ongoing costs of them? Oh boy, this is going to be insightful. If we consider an average user completing 10,000 miles a year in both vehicles, using the UK average petrol price to even out geographical differences against one of the most popular EV tariffs for charging in 2023, the annual cost to cover 10,000 miles in a Mercedes would be around £1,530, in comparison to a Tesla, which would cost around £181 if we could rely on home charging alone. Even if we incorporated a few supercharging sessions and doubled that total to £360, the day-to-day running cost is simply not comparable and is a fundamental advantage of owning an electric car like the Tesla Model 3, together with the comfort and ease of charging from the doorstep while you sleep. We mustn't forget about the mechanical differences between both vehicles. Petrol engines have around 200 moving parts in comparison to around 20 in an electric powertrain. With less moving parts, we have less friction, less vibrations, and less excess heat. So in principle, there should be less reliability concerns for the Tesla over the Mercedes. EVs don't need cam belt replacements, oil changes, fuel injectors, exhaust systems. There are savings to be had in the ongoing wear and tear area. Mercedes has to recommend getting the car serviced annually, and having looked on the Mercedes website, this would cost you £840 for 2 years of servicing, or £420 if you halve that cost for a single year. The Tesla, on the other hand, requires servicing on an as-needed basis, with Tesla recommending covering a few maintenance points from your own home. This difference is just as significant as the fuel and charging comparison. Actually, I'd go as far as saying that this difference really does hit home, as it reinstates that who has the utmost confidence in their product mechanically. Finally, here in the UK, we'd be expected to pay vehicle excise duty and a luxury car tax for the Mercedes annually, and this will total around £520 until year 5, and I think it will go down to £165 and then onwards. This does not currently apply to EVs and Teslas alike, although this could change from 2025 onwards. Therefore, after around a year in a nutshell, for the Mercedes it will cost around £2,470 to own and operate for around a year, which includes just the petrol costs, servicing costs, and the annual tax. I've not incorporated any wear and tear costs, but it's something to bear in mind for the future years. Whereas the Tesla, we're looking at pretty much fuel costs only for year 1, even factoring that higher £360 charging cost. It's over 6 times cheaper to run per annum. Now think about how this cost extrapolates over a number of years. Now, can you see why I said this is eye-wateringly different? The numbers just simply speak for themselves. The final point I want to make before heading to the conclusion is just considering future residuals. Whilst I can't predict the future, I'm no genie, just a random guy from sunny Britain that consistently manages to make bad dad jokes from time to time. Over the coming years, it is anticipated that demand for new ICE vehicles like this would drop, and fully electric vehicles like the Tesla Model 3 will be in higher demand as we head into the ban on the sale of new petrol vehicles. Residual values stem from many different factors and can never truly be anticipated. But in the more distant future, if roads are predominantly EV driven and we see petrol stations closing and finding replacement parts for ICE vehicles increasingly difficult to source or at a higher cost as demand for those begin to drop, owning and operating a petrol or diesel vehicle will be possible, but over time, how difficult will it be to maintain and operate? I'm not preempting the values here, but just simply putting the question out there, how easy do you think it's going to be to run an ICE vehicle in 10 to 15 years time? And will that then affect the residuals? There is also an counter argument as there will be somewhat niche or there'll be some sort of scarcity around it, which could help maintain the value, but I guess the pool of willing buyers will also be less. This is just one for you to consider and for you to make your own judgment on for sure. So to conclude, we know Mercedes is more expensive to buy on a ticket price. It's also more expensive to run, and the residual position over the coming years will be unclear. Specs wise, the Tesla has the ability to improve year on year through software updates, and we should expect to see less servicing and maintenance on the Tesla over the petrol powered Mercedes. As a Tesla owner, beyond the Mercedes brand and the appeal to its exterior and interior, I think the fundamentals to the average driver now make the Tesla an easier choice, especially once you are familiar with the ownership costs and expectations. And this is just my 2 cents on the matter, but I'm really interested into what you folks think. Do you agree with my thesis that Tesla has traditional petrol and diesel alternatives on check? What did you think to my comparison? Did any of it shock you in any way? Do let me know in the comment section below. And if you're not sure what's coming and you got this far in the video, you can simply drop me the comment Tesla Masterclass and I'll give you a cheeky thumbs up for the support. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like the video and share it with your friends and family. And thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.